Inspiring inspiration, bridging the communication divide at Union Pacific Railroad. John Grooms, Upper Iowa University, Senior Project, Communication Studies, ID 498, Professor Nicole DENLER. My audience today will be Courtney. Thank you for being here, Courtney. Shall we begin? I titled my paper, "The Bigger They Are, the Harder They Fail." In 1862, Lincoln signed the Pacific Railroad Act, which was the birth of Union Pacific Railroad. Today, Union Pacific Railroad rolls through 7,300 communities, boasting family support and community relationship building. Since 1862, the common stock was only $20 a share for Union Pacific Railroad stock. Today, they are ranked 143 of Forbes' top 500 list. With the growth of UP and technology, executive management and middle management have evolved, while simultaneously dissolving subculture communications with laborers. The problem is the CMC has advanced with management, and it has locked out all the subordinates. And internet and information are resources that are only allowed for the hierarchy of the company. We employees are fed the information that they need to know, and what we need to know or what any input we have for the company is irrelevant. All decisions are made above, and the employees have no say in what's going on. This affects morale and may cause confusion and emotional exhaustion, cynical perspectives amongst employees, and demoralization. Not to mention in an environment that is just saturated in discipline and rules, where you're asked to do illegitimate tasks. You can be sure to have zero recognition for a job well done in the most adverse weather conditions. Employees have no communication with the upper hierarchy and upper executive management on issues that they have. If they're mental or if they have emotional strains, and all of this equals burnout. They need to have a way to communicate with one another. The research on corporate disconnect regarding employee relations has shown that relationships in the workplace can become strained while production suffers due to a lack of communication between cultures. Executives at Union Pacific Railroad are no exception. There is a huge disconnect. Without any explanation to the employees are left wondering if the tasks they are doing are actually legitimate or not legitimate. Each society has its regime of truth, its general politics of truth, that is, the types of discourse which it accepts and makes function as true. Richard and Catherine, 2004. These visions may be aggressive and unobtainable to workers who have to implement the visions that are created by the executives. The ideas and theories seem aggressive and cutting edge in the boardroom, but when you're out in the workspaces, this can be very unrealistic to employees. The question that needs to be addressed is not the values and visions portrayed to the public by corporate at Union Pacific Railroad, but whether the company is truly practicing what it promotes regarding its employees. Maintaining a vision of global community is difficult at PPR when executive management is allowed sick leave and all other employees working in adverse conditions are denied such benefits. When workers suffer from emotional exhaustion, when they feel fatigued, frustrated, used up, or unable to face another day on the job, Miller, 2012. With limited access to computer-mediated communications and non-existent programs to empower employees, research has shown the decay of global corporate brands due to their lack of empowerment and participation in company objectives. Bad management is another problem at Union Pacific. Unrealistic goals and problems that the employees cannot lead to horrible productivity, and morale suffers every day. Management must lead in an effective, productive, and fair manner. Research has shown that the importance of emotional reactions in employees working in adverse conditions is something that Union Pacific might want to consider or face absenteeism, job dissatisfaction, and turnover. The expenses that come along with not paying attention to these important things that research has shown is that the company will have added expenses for recruitment, training, advertising, and loss of production while waiting to fill the job that has been vacated. In efforts for the management to achieve its goals, for the upper executive management, it is constantly testing an employee and giving coaching lessons. And an employee at Union Pacific Railroad cannot concentrate on his job every day because he has so many rules that he has to concentrate on. He has so many, he's under constant surveillance with global positioning systems and vehicles. His seat belts are monitored. If he happens to have his seat belt off for a minute, it's sent to a mainframe where they can be disciplined for it. There's onboard cameras that view every move that he makes. You have surprise safety checks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, rain or shine. It doesn't matter. They're always watching you, not to mention the drones flying overhead. We're going to talk about illegitimate tasks. Lost my place here. Illegitimate tasks divide work cultures. This can be viewed from a behavioral aspect as far as managers, from what their viewpoint is. And from what I can see, we're probably dealing with a Theory X style management system over at Union Pacific Railroad. Control, I think, is their main mode of operation. Maybe. Theory X management may be a predominant style there. Theory X managers believe that the average employee dislikes work because they must be controlled, directed, and threatened, so they will perform their job duties, and employees prefer to be told what to do. Quintella and Wall, 2014. Illegitimate tasks may have negative social aspects. Someone at work might be going, well, why are you doing that for him? Why are you doing it? And even though you know it's wrong, it doesn't make sense, it can have a lot to do with the person and how they're perceived at work. Tasks do not need to be difficult to be considered illegitimate. Theory X management can be productive, but it also can be very destructive to people with low morale, who are unempowered, which can equal burnout. Control might be at work at Union Pacific Railroad. An example up here on the board is, here you have a switchman who's he's not supposed to turn his back on the oncoming freight cars. And then when it comes to making the switch and move, he has to turn his back to the oncoming cars while running with his back to the oncoming cars. So by doing one rule, he breaks another rule. He's canceling out one, he's canceling out the other. No matter what, if we look down at the bottom of the slide, it says 2 separate rules here, or is it a liability blanket for the company? Either way, this person sees this as an illegitimate task. And this is an example of just many that are prevalent at Union Pacific Railroad. Employees who only are on the receiving end of the company's vision without any input to how the company's vision was even created may perceive this as an organizational injustice. Research indicates that employees perceiving organizational injustice are more likely to experience mental distress. Osgi, 2013. Management might see this as distributed justice as their implementation of work processes. Employees with no input to work processes might perceive tasks as illegitimate. Management implements of work processes can be seen as procedural justice. Employees perceive distributive and procedural justice as an imbalance, one-sided, which equals an illegitimate task to an employee, basically a very negative work process. Excuse me. Burnout within a company may be perceived as injustice at the workplace. Companies should consider all communication sources as a resource below the hierarchical level. In other words, all employees should have an input and say, everybody has good ideas, everybody should have a part in the vision. Falling short of understanding your employees, you could be falling short of the bottom line. A possible course of action to help Union Pacific bridge this gap between communications is a program of empowerment. A program of empowerment motivates employees through positive engagement, authorizes workforces to think and brainstorm collaboratively, inspires positive behaviors to act and help in work processes, and helps shape companies' vision. It also the employer should authorize employees to help in the decision of making work processes while shaping the vision of the company. Empowerment may reverse the dissatisfaction of the employees. Also, combined with technology training, such as computer-mediated communication, IS, information systems training, information and access sharing, allows all employees to be more productive and efficient. You should unleash your employees and their potential. My recommendation would be an amalgamation of technology and empowerment training. Communication was not intended to build barriers. It was intended to bring people together. Let's use communication to build a bridge at UPPR.